Hi everyone, welcome to the Ansys Discovery Live webcast series. This is a 6-part webcast series, so this will be happening on a monthly basis, so be sure to come in every month. My name is Sukandeep, and before we dive into the presentation, I just kind of wanted to highlight why we decided to start this series and really why we decided to highlight Ansys products. So KETIV empowers today's innovators and manufacturers for a better tomorrow. What this really means is that we want to empower you so that you can go back to your workplaces and drive innovation. But to make that happen, we realize that we need to give you the tools to get you there. So that includes the technology that you need, the software, the support to tackle any and all business needs, consulting, so that we can help you provide a seamless integration across your entire organization, and academy, which is really where this falls in. This is all about an ongoing and dynamic learning experience so that you can keep up to date. So I really wanted to highlight the new and growing partnership between Ansys and KETIV. We decided that to continue with our promise to provide our customers with the best solutions, we needed to partner with a #1 simulation expert in the world, which is Ansys. And so that our customers can have the finest simulation technology so that they can create their design concepts and turn them into products at a much faster rate at a lower cost. So this is where Discovery Live fits in. So I'll be passing it off to Anthony Manadio, who is the regional sales director here at Ansys, and he can kind of give you a bit of a background of Ansys and really talk about Discovery Live as well. So let me just pass that off to him real quick.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Sukandeep, and thanks, everyone, for joining today. As she highlighted, Ansys has been the industry-leading simulation provider for over 30 years. We've been very successful at helping our customers achieve their product development goals. We're doing this through digital exploration, through full 3D, multi-physics virtual prototyping, and the ability to simulate an entire system. So now we're incredibly excited to have a partnership with KETIV. This partnership is going to help us complete our vision of pervasive engineering. KETIV is a perfect partner for Ansys. They have an in-depth knowledge and support structure of manufacturers and market innovators. We really feel that KETIV's reputation, their close relationship with their customers is really going to help us push simulation and tools like Ansys Discovery Live into the hands of designers and engineers across the country. So we're going to be more excited to be in this partnership with them. Eric, if you can move on to the next slide. So at Ansys, we completely understand the need for a vast depth and breadth of simulation technology if we're truly going to achieve pervasive engineering. So through past and continued development and acquisition, we can confidently say that our suite of simulation tools is second to none. So today and throughout this series, we're going to be focusing on this Discovery family of products that you'll see on the left. But I urge you to reach out to KETIV for more information about our advanced simulation tools as well, from structures, optics, fluids, electronics, embedded software, and systems. So again, as we move on and get into some of these examples, I want to say how excited we are to be partnering with KETIV and look forward to helping them make their customers successful as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Sukandeep, and for those listening. So this is Eric Meyer. I'll be telling you about Discovery Live today. So Discovery Live, this series, is one of the softwares for the 3D design family of products, which we call Discovery. And hopefully by the end of today, you'll have a good idea for what Discovery Live can and can't do and when you might want to use it. So Discovery Live is one of Ansys's newest and most exciting product. We developed it as part of our commitment to pervasive engineering simulation because we want all engineers to benefit from simulation. Discovery Live will empower design engineers to use simulation to inform their design decisions, even if they've never used simulation before. Discovery Live is a design tool for designers. It is not an expert analyst tool. But before I get into what Discovery Live is, I want to give a little background on why Ansys developed this groundbreaking new tool. This is a simple schematic showing several steps in the product design process. We start with the ideation phase, things like brainstorming, concept design. The goal in this phase is to choose the best ideas to develop further. Then these ideas are refined as we further eliminate design options in favor of other options and optimize them. Eventually, we're left with a single candidate design to validate before moving forward. For many products today, simulation plays a critical role in this process, but we are still far from using simulation to its full extent possible. Simulation today is used almost exclusively in the later stages of design. Yet important decisions are being made in earlier stages, and they affect all future design choices. So these early decisions are being made without any input from simulation. The reasons why simulation is not used earlier can be summed up as simulation is still too expensive. Simulation, of course, is much cheaper than physical prototypes or physical testing. But if your design space is large, simulation is still impractical. Too long to wait for a solution, too much expertise required to use it reliably, maybe too much hardware required. So the cost of simulation means it can only be used once the number of candidate designs has already been reduced down to a manageable number. So to make simulation so cheap that it can be used even in the very earliest design stage means removing all of these roadblocks, which are keeping simulation expensive. And we believe Discovery Live does exactly that. Ansys has taken nearly 50 years of simulation experience to build this intelligent software. Our expertise is baked into the software, so the user does not need to be an expert to use it. Now, I know computation time is limited by hardware, but today, ordinary GPUs contain thousands of cores, and their speed is increasing even faster than CPUs. So Ansys has partnered with NVIDIA to leverage their GPUs to bring massively parallel computation to desktops and laptops. But to take full advantage of the parallel architecture, we again drew on 50 years experience with numerical methods to develop simulation that runs completely on the GPU, giving near instantaneous results. So it's great to be able to perform nearly instant simulation on a single design. But to explore large design space requires that we can use fast simulation on many designs. And we need to do it interactively to update our designs once we have feedback from simulation. So to accomplish this, we took this new solver technology and packaged it with existing powerful and easy to use Ansys geometry editing tools. The ability to directly edit geometry within the simulation environment and see immediate feedback on the design change is what allows for rapid design exploration. So that's enough talking about Discovery Live. The best way to learn about Discovery Live is to see it in action. So let's take a look and hear from users about their experiences. Lybotic was one of our first trial users and was willing to share their experience with us.
Lybotic is a company that manufactures wireless power and battery intelligence solutions. We're making systems that allow you to charge batteries on robotic devices like aerial drones, mobile robotics, and even aquatic underwater vehicles fully autonomously. Our products have to move right along with the pace of drone development, which means we need to get our products to market very quickly. That's where the Ansys product comes in. It allows us to run through a number of different scenarios in terms of how we want to design things like the enclosures of our products or other aspects. So it speeds up our development process pretty considerably.
The iterative design process with a simulation tool can take hours every time you want to modify something traditionally. I was able to pretty much design on the fly with Ansys Discovery. In a matter of 10 minutes, I could be analyzing a completely different geometry for thermal characteristics, airflow, all these things live with only 10 minutes of my input to change the system. The time savings, the monetary savings, and prototyping fees, it's significant. It really added up. So that time that we'd previously be spending can now be spent into usability, kind of aesthetic design for manufacturing, all these components that go into a good product that we would have been too constrained for our business model. Certainly going into design review, having easy to understand simulation results that are intuitive, you can actually make the point and have something to back it up as opposed to asking for their blind trust in engineering. It's nice to be able to show previous prototypes you had iterated upon, the improvements you've made, and it kind of gives everyone a sense of confidence in the product before manufacturing.
The very first product that we used the Ansys Discovery Live system on has now been released, fully released out into the market. It's received great traction, and we were able to get it out much faster than we originally anticipated. So we definitely expect to use Discovery Live for future products as well.
It's always great to hear customers benefiting from our software in exactly the ways we intended. So in that video, we saw a few short clips of Discovery Live. Now let's take a longer look. Here's an example of how Wybotic has used Discovery Live in their product design process. This is an electronics enclosure, much like the ones Wybotic produces. Starting with just a CAD model, setting up an internal flow simulation in Discovery Live is as simple as defining the locations of the inlet and outlet. We see the simulation immediately takes off running. No other pre-processing is required. This model contains over 1,600 individual parts. There may be some overlaps or small gaps, which the simulation is extremely tolerant of. When we talk about making simulation easier, this is a part of the story. It's a good idea to first get an overall view of the flow characteristics. Here we make use of several interactive visualization techniques to view both the direction and magnitude of the airflow through the enclosure. This type of visualization is usually called post-processing, but in Discovery Live, it is done interactively and simultaneously with the live results. One of the top concerns of this design is how the fan drives airflow through the enclosure to transfer heat downstream. Now, most of this heat is dissipated through the heatsink located near the center of the enclosure. So it's important to understand the fluid flow there. By placing the emitter just upstream from the heatsink and using reverse streamlines, we can see air coming towards the heatsink. From where and how fast? I find the airflow here reaching the heatsink to be a bit slow and anemic, so I know this design can be improved. To gain further understanding, we'll look at another results display, meeting tracer particles into the flow, all real time. Here, we can see the flow splits sharply to the left and to right. We'd like to increase flow to the left to help cool the heatsink. Not only can I interact with the visualization of results, but I can also make changes on the fly to the simulation itself. Here, I'll change the results view to temperature instead of velocity, and add a heat flux boundary condition to specify the number of watts being dissipated by the heatsink. I can now see the heat transferring into the fluid and being transported downstream by observing the temperature of the fluid. Often, it's not enough to have qualitative information only. Designers also need quantitative data to make design decisions. So I create a chart to plot temperature on the heatsink that we can track over time. Now that I have the simulation set up as I want, I can begin to make design changes and observe the effects of my changes. Here, I'll change the position of the board within the enclosure and see the effects on the temperature on the heatsink. It's not the exact temperature value I'm interested in, just the relative changes in temperature as I make design changes. In Discovery Live, mistakes are cheap, and exploring what-if scenarios is easy. I can add additional sources of heat or modify any of the boundary conditions at any time. One of the easiest and most important design changes to make is the position of the inlet fan. We can easily change the location and see effects both visually and numerically in the chart. This extreme interactivity of model setup, results display, and geometry changes is what makes Discovery Live truly unique. Now, another key element that we believe is important to simulation for most design use cases is that you want to explore multiple types of behaviors and physical phenomena. Here we run a modal simulation to look at the frequency behavior of the enclosure. We have a lot of components inside, and we want to see how stiff it's going to be with respect to vibrations. Here, Discovery Live gives us instantaneous results, and we can view multiple modes at the click of a button. But as always, we want to do something with this information. So here, if I want to make a change, as a designer, I can explore what would happen if I added another connecting point. You notice in just a few seconds, it gets stiffer and the resonant frequency increases. This is the type of exploration that Discovery Live enables. So videos are a great way to experience Discovery Live. As mentioned before, this is a 6-part series. It's our introductory session. In future webinars, we'll go into more detail about the technical features of Discovery Live. But for now, here is an overview. So Discovery Live can perform static linear structural analysis to determine stress, deformation, reaction forces. Also modal analysis to find mode shapes and eigenfrequencies, and thermal analysis on structures, both steady state and transient. So the next webinar will cover these analysis types in more detail. And then the following webinar will cover fluids. For fluid analysis, Discovery Live can simulate incompressible and slightly compressible internal and external flow, including heat flow, as we just saw in the video. Now note, these are not modules. All these analysis types are enabled in every license of Discovery Live and can be used on the same model within the same session. Edits to the geometry affect all analysis types, so it's easy to explore multiple effects of every design change you make. Now, Discovery Live is not an isolated app. It's part of the Discovery product family, which in turn is part of the full suite of simulation solutions at Ansys. The Discovery family is our solution for design engineers. They're powerful tools, yet easy to use. To quickly introduce them here, SpaceClaim is direct modeling software. It does not have simulation capability, but as a geometry editing tool, it is the foundation of the Discovery products. SpaceClaim brings with it the ability to read CAD data from all major native CAD and neutral formats and make edits to the geometry regardless of the source. Discovery Live is what we've just seen. It is a design exploration tool that makes use of simulation to aid the design process, while Discovery AIM is high fidelity, high accuracy, multi-physics analysis package. Discovery AIM bundles Ansys flagship solver technology inside a single interface with guided workflows and automatic meshing. As a brief overview of how AIM differs from Discovery Live, these are some analysis features of AIM. So again, static, linear, and nonlinear stress, including nonlinear contacts, nonlinear materials, and large deformation. AIM can also perform situations like bolt pretension and other multi-step analysis. For fluid flow, have compressible and incompressible fluid flow with conjugate heat transfer, including and low frequency magnetic and electric, thermal, topological optimization, multi-physics such as fluid structure interaction and other coupled physics, and modal analysis on more complex models such as assemblies with nonlinear contacts and bolt pretension. And I'll move on. And so these Ansys products I've mentioned, especially Discovery products, I want to place them into the context of the design process that I've been talking about, so we can see where they fit. So the flagship tools are high accuracy and complex physics and be used to solve an enormous range of complex problems. So they're well suited for refinement and validation, the later stage of the design process. Now, Discovery products for designers, they cover a wider range of stages, but with a reduced complexity. So concept design is ideal use case for Discovery Live. The more possibilities, the better. And then depending on the situation, either Discovery Live or AIM can be used for refinement. And Discovery AIM is also well suited for validation studies like the flagship tools because it uses the flagship solver technology, though it's not used for the full range of problems that the flagship tools can handle. Now, as part of the same Ansys system, these applications work together. So models can be easily exchanged between the various tools. It's easy to pass a design from Discovery Live to AIM and then onto flagship tool, or directly from Discovery Live onto the flagships. Now, Discovery Live is a design tool. It makes use of simulation to enable real-time design exploration. It is extremely easy to use. With no previous experience, you'll be running simulations in your first session. And in the same user interface, we have multiple physics and geometry editing. So if you use Discovery Live, using Discovery Live to incorporate simulation either in the design, earlier in the design process, will lead to better products through exploration of more design iteration and faster product development. It will also reduce the simulation load on expert analysts, allowing them to focus more on advanced simulation. This last point is especially true if Discovery AIM is used alongside Discovery Live. So thank you all for listening. I'll now hand the presentation back.
Hi everyone, this is Sukandeep again. So before we dive into the Q&A, I just wanted to reiterate that this is a 6-part webcast series, and next month's topic will involve Discovery Live for mechanical simulation. As Eric said before, this part was really just an overview of what Discovery Live is, why that was created, and the next parts will get more in depth on really use cases for Discovery Live, as well as how it can be utilized in more technical issues. If you're looking for to learn more or a free trial, you can contact us at KETIV.com, as well as this phone number here as well. And if you have any other questions after the webcast, that's also somewhere you can contact us, and we'll be happy to help. So now we're just going to dive into the Q&A portion of it. And so I'm going to hand it back to Eric, who can help answer any questions.
So, okay, I'll start by answering these questions I see here. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the chat. So questions are like, Discovery Live is a pretty new product. What future developments will be added? So yeah, unfortunately, I can't talk about any details for future changes to the product, but I can definitely talk in general terms. So the focus of Discovery Live is going to remain exactly where it is, which is speed, ease of use, interactivity for design exploration. That's never going to change. Of course, we're going to continue to make it more accurate, but accuracy will never be the primary focus because we have all the other tools for that, all the highly accurate tools, including Discovery AIM and the flagship tools. So in early stages of design, accuracy is not the the primary need out of simulation. So we're going to put focus on that speed and ease of use. What we will develop, besides continuing to improve accuracy, is to allow more people to use it. So it's still a pretty common situation where a user very interested in Discovery Live, they love it, and then when they evaluate it for their particular application, they find there's some limitation that prevents them from doing what they want to do. So that's really what we want to. We want more people, as many people who want to use it should be able to. So, for example, adding nonlinear contacts, different geometry types. Sometimes we get a geometry that Discovery Live meshing can't fully handle. Multi-physics, we want more coupling between the different types of physics. Models that include some type of motion. Those are just examples of situations that Discovery Live currently can't simulate, but we hope to add in the future. Let's see. So what about the hardware requirements? In terms of CPU and memory, they're basically non-existent requirements. I mean, every modern computer will be able to handle it. But for GPU, since the computation is all on the GPU, there are some requirements for the graphics card. First of all, it must be NVIDIA card, no integrated graphics. And unfortunately, yes, also no AMD card. So it must be NVIDIA and must have a minimum of 4 GB on the graphics card. So not system memory, but actual graphics card, dedicated graphics card memory, not shared memory either. And also needs to be fairly newer card within the past few years. So there's card generations, Kepler, Maxwell, and Pascal, K, M, and P, should be of those generations. And of course, the newer generations are preferred. They'll be faster, more capable. So speaking generally, the memory, graphics memory, is what limits the resolution, the fidelity of the simulation, and the number of cores and how new the card is going to affect the speed it runs at. In general, the minimum of 4 GB is pretty good for most structural simulations. If you're going to do a lot of fluid simulations, you'll probably be happier with a hardware memory, 8 GB or more. But of course, it depends on other details.
Yeah, is pricing global or locally for Discovery Live?
So there are local differences in the pricing.
Can it be used for simulating flapping? Did you answer that one, Eric?
No, I did not. I didn't see that. So, right, that would be an example of something we'd like to be able to do, but just we can't handle the moving, the motion yet. So that's something certainly that flagship tools would be able to handle, no problem. But in Discovery Live, we don't yet have that capability.
There is a question on getting a free trial. For that, we can get you a free trial after this, so we'll get in contact with you. Okay, so I think now this is all of the questions, and thank you so much for coming and watching the Discovery Live webcast series part 1. There will be 6 parts again, so hopefully we'll see you again next month.